This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other. She's making six figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially. Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helped me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
I just had a therapy session earlier today, and I wanted to go into the feelings that I'm having post this therapy session, because I'm accepting a lot of things. I'm accepting reality on reality's terms, and I'm accepting every person, specifically my wife, for who they are. As I've said plenty of times in these recordings, I feel that I have been maybe like sort of betrayed by certain things that my wife has done over the years, and I've always felt guilty about the things that I did that may have caused what I felt like was betrayal from my wife. Like, for instance, when she had her affair, her words were, "I did that, I cheated on you because you made me feel a certain way. When I asked you if you wanted to be married to me and you said no, I felt like we were done, so I pursued," and that's when she had her affair. My perspective on all of that before was, man, maybe she's right. I did that, and maybe she was. And from her perspective, which is totally okay for her to have, I just, I told her something and she acted, and okay. I'll let whoever's listening to this diary entry determine if they personally feel that that is right or wrong for them. But it took about 5 years for my wife to say that she was sorry for what she did. She said she was unable to separate her feelings from what she felt I did to her, but she felt like she was dead wrong. And she said those words. And I didn't even realize that 5 years had gone by, because to me it always felt like yesterday, which I guess meant like it was, to me, it was most likely unresolved, or it was resolved, but resolved in a way that I didn't feel was good, a good resolution. And I told her after that apology, I said, wow, that's, thank you for that apology. I won't kick you while you're down. I had no idea it was 5 years. Okay. And I guess I'd come to the peace that my wife still had the view, or did have the view that her affair was justified because of something that I did. So doing a lot of unpacking of a lot of situations like that over the years in my therapy sessions, and it's been very therapeutic. Talking with my therapist and understanding what trauma is, understanding what mental and emotional abuses are, understanding how I've hurt other people, understanding that when I was hurt, it's okay to own that I was a victim of something. I may even have been a victim of guilt because of what someone said to me. She's like, no, you know, this happened to you. It wasn't good. You reacted in these ways that also weren't good, but that doesn't negate the fact that someone did something to you. And now we're working on boundaries and understanding that I maybe set them, or I didn't set them, or they were unfair boundaries, or I was off base, on base, lukewarm with boundaries, how to enforce them. And I hadn't until today really thought about, like, well, how can someone turn around and find themselves married in like a year or something after they get a divorce? And just leaving this last place, making these returns, I understand it. I don't think that I'm going to sort of make a move and start pursuing anything or anyone. That's not my goal, but my perspective is continuing to shift very, very drastically with every change that I experience and every light bulb that goes off in my head. And the latest light bulbs have been, oh, now you know the things that you don't want. So I think when I see these people that get a divorce and they're married in like a year, and you're like, you know, how the heck could you do that? Geez, like that seems so fast. That's so fast. It's so fast. It's like it's not like they're jumping into something that's like a better situation for them necessarily, but how you might be able to get married and find yourself with another person committed in a long-term relationship again, just like you're out of one into the next. It's like, well, I have 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years of this is what I don't want. And I know I'm hypersensitive to all the things that I don't want or like. So as soon as you find a person that doesn't check those I don't like boxes, you're probably going to be open to, especially if you might be a little bit impulsive, you might be really open to jumping into something new really quickly and trying to get yourself back to what you might feel the quote unquote status was of the last relationship. If you were married for 20 some years and then you got a divorce, you still wanted to be married maybe, and you want to be married maybe. So when you meet someone and things are going well and you're thinking, hey, I'm in my mid 50s now. What the hell am I waiting for? Let's just get married and, we'll do it. We'll tie some things up with some prenups or whatever. I don't really know. But then, and the other person's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I must not have meant anything because they were able to get married in less than a year after we divorced. How could they? We were never as close as I thought, because if we were, it wouldn't have been so easy for the other person to move on. I think I'm looking at it a little differently. Maybe it's quote unquote easy for the other person to move on because the other person, who knows what the other person was thinking or doing? That's one, so you don't really ever know. But two, if the other person, let's simplify this. If the other person was a meat eater and you are a vegan, and your ex was never able to go to Texas Roadhouse and have a steak, or Outback Steakhouse, or some seafood shack, or whatever, every time you guys went out to do what your ex might have felt was a very awesome thing, breaking bread together, eating together, and they were never able to do that with you with cuisine that they also enjoyed. It may be like a person in the desert when you see that bottle of water and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just want that bottle of water. I want to drink that and they're so open to the newness of being able to sit across from someone, next to someone, having a dinner where they're both talking about, this is a great medium rare ribeye, isn't it? Yes, it's so good. I love it. I had a really good dry aged one at this other restaurant. Oh, that was so good. Don't you love it? I do. I've never been to that place. We should go and try it. Okay. Now you're seeing this future sort of unfold, and you're seeing this new life where, wait, am I going to be able to sit down and have a good steak with my, wow, I was never able to do that. And you find that the person likes a red wine as well. And wow, this person, you're nothing like my ex. You're nothing like my ex. And that song probably reverberates through your system. And then before you know it, bells of matrimony, because you just want to get back to that place you thought you'd be married, which now it kind of doesn't matter who it is to. If you really want to be married, you're just gonna, hey, you're gonna be ready to hop right back into marriage with that person because you wanted to be married, and now you feel you have someone that doesn't have some of the same problems or hang-ups, misgivings, or whatever that your ex did. So instead of pacing yourself and going a little bit slow, you've got your swim cap on and you are off the diving board in the deep end of love, new love, whatever the hell that is.
Wow! That was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully, these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.